let's talk about something you probably don't think about much, but has a massive impact on American life: the U.S. military's legal system. Now, you might think it's all just court-martials and battlefield rules, but its influence stretches way, way beyond that, shaping everything from our federal courts to the laws on the high seas. So how does a system built for war end up writing the rules we all live by? Let's dive in.
So how does that even happen? Well, the answer really breaks down into two amazing stories. First, we're going to look at the people who are trained inside this unique system. And then we'll take a look at the playbook they created to apply the law all across the globe. All right, let's kick things off with the people. You see, there's this really fascinating and surprisingly common career path that takes lawyers from the military's legal world and puts them in some of the most powerful judges' seats in the whole country. Okay, first things first, you're going to hear this term a lot: JAG Corps. So what is it? JAG stands for the Judge Advocate General's Corps. The easiest way to think about it is as the military's own in-house law firm. They handle pretty much everything, from military justice all the way up to complex international law.
And here's where it gets really interesting. It turns out that this experience in the JAG Corps is an absolutely incredible training ground. There is a serious pipeline that funnels these military lawyers straight onto the federal bench, where, you guessed it, they end up interpreting laws that affect every single one of us.
I mean, just look at these numbers. They really tell the story. The Army's JAG Corps is the single biggest contributor by a long shot, making up almost half of all former JAGs who go on to become federal judges. Now, the Air Force, Navy, and Marines are all in the mix too, but the Army's influence here is just massive.
This chart really drives the point home, right? That huge chunk for the Army JAG Corps is no accident. Because it's the largest of the military's legal branches, it gives these young lawyers a chance to get thrown right into the fire, getting tons of hands-on trial experience from day one and handling a huge number of cases.
And this quote just nails it. It's that intense, high-volume trial experience that forges these lawyers into absolute courtroom pros. That experience becomes like a golden ticket for a future career on the federal bench. So they're essentially shaping the American judiciary from the inside out.
Okay, so that's the people side of the equation. Now let's talk about the playbook. The military had this huge problem to solve. How on earth do you get 3 different sea services? We're talking the Navy, the Marines, and the Coast Guard to follow the exact same legal rules when they're out on the open ocean.
Now, just think about how tricky this is. You've got the Navy, the Marine Corps, and the Coast Guard. They all operate at sea, sure, but they have totally different missions, different cultures, you name it. So how do you make absolutely certain that a commander from any of those branches is going to make the exact same legal call in a high-stakes moment? You need one single source of truth.
At first glance, it looks like a total mess. The Navy has its own legal handbook with its own official designation. Then you've got the Marine Corps, they've got their version. And of course, the Coast Guard has theirs too. So you see 3 services, 3 different handbook numbers. It looks like a classic case of bureaucratic chaos, doesn't it?
Well, here is the brilliant part. Yeah, they have different covers, different code names, but they are all the exact same document. One unified legal playbook for America's entire maritime force. Super clever, right? So this document, officially it's called the Commander's Handbook on the Law of Naval Operations, is put together by the top legal minds at the Naval War College. And then the heads of the Navy, Marines, and Coast Guard all co-sign it. The goal is simple, but it's absolutely critical. Make sure every single commander is working from the same script on everything from rules of engagement to the law of armed conflict.
All right, so let's pull these 2 big ideas together. On one hand, we've got a system that churns out these elite legal experts. And on the other, a system that creates these incredibly detailed, unified rulebooks. So what does that all add up to?
What it means is that the military's legal system is this powerful engine with 2 huge outputs. It acts like a forge, right? Hammering out these seasoned legal pros who then go on to shape our civilian laws from the judge's chair. And at the exact same time, it creates the actual tools, these super harmonized legal frameworks that are needed to handle incredibly complex situations all over the world. And that right there is the crucial point. The influence of military law goes so much further than the armed forces. Through the people it trains and the playbooks it writes, this system is shaping our world in ways we almost never even see. So it leaves us with one last thing to think about.
When the logic of the battlefield starts shaping the law of the land, what does that really mean for the rest of us and the hidden legal architecture that holds up our national institutions?